To celebrate 50 years of Maccas, we're introducing the Mac family. And with every medium or large, Mac Junior, Big Mac or Grand Big Mac meal, you'll get one of 6 free Maccas glasses, but only for a limited time. Available after 10:30am while stocks last.
Welcome back to the program. Great to have your company. Thanks to all of you that sent through a text and taking the time to dial the number and have a chat so far. We'll head back to your calls very shortly. But it's 6th versus 7th on the 40 Winks ladder when the Swans host the Eagles at GMHBA Stadium. 40 Winks extended stock take sale for up to 50% off store-wide, by the way, at the moment. Must end Sunday. Tom Hickey, Sydney Swans star ruckman, has been good enough to join me. Welcome to you, Tom. Great to have you on the line.
Thanks for having me, mate. Not sure about star, though. Battler ruckman will do.
No, more than... Well, you've got a couple of backups actually being brought into the squad this week, actually. Hayden McLean's back in. Callum Sinclair also back in. We don't know what the 22 plus the sub's going to be yet, but it looks like you've got at least a reinforcement or two.
Yeah, and Jolie's been really good, mate. Jolie's obviously only his 5th or 6th game, but the way he attacks the contest has been super impressive. So if we get one more in, I'm always an advocate for more big guys and teams. Keeps me in a job.
Absolutely, it does. Where are you training today? You're about to go to training. Everything's a bit out of the ordinary for you at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're down at the Holden Centre today. We'll punt road on Tuesday, and they were at Collingwood today. So it's good. We were Footscray last week, so we're doing the tour, getting to see everything.
Has it been a bit of fun for you to hang around in Melbourne, or is it going to start to wear thin soon?
Yeah, we've got to urban surf once or twice, which is nice. But I've got a wife and a 2-year-old back home with not much help, and she's pregnant with twins at the moment as well. So the sooner I can get home, the better. There's a bit of guilt just being here, but we're here to do a job, so got to get that done first. Yeah,
is she okay and everything going okay? How close is the birth?
No, she's only like sort of 17, 18 weeks, so she's still pretty early on. But anyone with toddlers know that they're manic at the best of times. So the club's been unreal in supporting us, and she's got 1 or 2 friends that have been really good as well. But being in lockdown pregnant with a toddler has many challenges, I'm sure.
And it looks like you might be sticking around in Melbourne for a little while, the way it's transpiring, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we were just looking at watching the news then. I think obviously they're in lockdown now, and I think they'll start seeing the results of that lockdown sort of in the next couple of days. And who knows, hopefully we can get those numbers really low by sort of late next week, and we'll take it from there. But it's too hard to look 2 days into the future, let alone 2 weeks. So just got to try and put everything in place to make it semi-sustainable, I guess, for Chloe, my wife, and for everyone else's players, partners and family and stuff like that.
Nick Natanui this week, and a pretty damn good midfield, the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, I've been able to see it firsthand, and Nick's a generational talent, and probably at the moment one of the most dominant players in the competition on his day, and we're going to have our work cut out for us in the midfield and as a team. So, obviously, I know he's probably top 2 ruckman in the comp at the moment, maybe even top 1 the way he's going the last few weeks. I just got to try and nullify his influence around the ground and give our mid a chance to sort of compete.
So what's the plan at centre bounces? You kind of know what he wants to do, but he knows that you know what he wants to do too.
Yeah, I've always had a bit of a gripe with this, with everyone reckon ruckman and dumb. I reckon the centre bounce is very much a game of chess. It's you know each other's strengths and you know each other's weaknesses, but who can get the ascendancy and then what move you do from there, and there's plenty of thinking going on in there. And because Nick was so athletic when he was young, he got figured out probably quite early in his career and had to adapt, and now he's probably one of the best, if not the best, at sort of playing the game in the centre bounce and stepping and jumping early and not jumping, and when he gets his hand on it, he can hit it anywhere. So definitely have my work cut out for me.
So take me into the bounce then. If it's a bounce that's off centre, then does everything change? All the plans go out the window if it's way off centre?
Yeah, I think I'm a big advocate for the bounce, because I believe that if it's thrown up, it's for the biggest, strongest, best jump ruckman to win most of the time, where when the bounce comes into it, there's a little bit more craft involved. So you can, how do you protect the space, or how do you judge the flight, how do you judge the ball mid-slide, or if they come in a bit early, can you step them or can you jump around them? So I think it adds another level of craft to the ruck position, and I need as much help as I can get in there.
So that's where you think you can have an advantage if it's just a a crazy ball as opposed to the straight up and down?
Yeah, I think probably not an advantage, but I think that just sort of you get your ones. You get a couple that given to you when it's bounced, and you have others where you can sort of scrap and it can just throw off opposition structures and stuff like that when the ball goes a bit rogue. But I think it's been around for so long, and it's a great part of footy, and I've always been a big advocate for the bounce.
Is Kelly his preferred option normally if it goes straight up?
Is Kelly Nick's option?
Is Tim Kelly Nick Natanui's first option? If it does go straight up, is that his normal? What do you think his main target's going to be if it goes straight up normally?
It'd have to be Luke Shuey, wouldn't it? They've been together for 11 years. I'd be flat if I was Boots and TK came in and stole the mantle straight away. But at the same time, mate, you got Tim Kelly, Luke Shuey, Elliot Yeo, Dom Sheed's had an unbelievable season. Jack Redden when he's in there. You've got a plethora of options, and I think often when in a long time in my football, when they've got a spare in there, and you sort of say you've got to leave the least dangerous three. When it comes to the West Coast, it's not really the least dangerous because all on their day are A-grade midfielders. So we're definitely Nick can hit it anywhere. So we're obviously going to be under the pump there in there, but we're up for the fight.
All right, I'll back you in to make it a chess game and to have your more pieces on the board come the end and get him checkmate come the end. I'm looking forward to broadcasting the game. The little bits and pieces in games, Tom, can be influential. I don't want to take you back to next week necessarily, but you decided to tackle Daniel Motlop in the dying minute last week, which was the right decision at the time. You kind of had no choice but to leave Scott Lysette and go for the tackle.
That's how it felt at the time. It didn't get brought up in the review, and I don't know. I think if you let Motts run and kick it on his left, and you're staying on your ruckman, you'll probably get in trouble there. Whereas a ruckman rolling around on his right, I think you'd back that. That's probably the least likely shot. No offence to Scott, I think Motts is a bit more crafty around goals. So, disappointing that he kicked the goal and they won, but. The little moments in games that you look back on when it's all said and done and think I could have been different.
Yeah, nothing could have been different there. You had to go for the tackle, but it would have been a heartbreaker for you guys. Your season's been great, though. You must be really happy with the form you've put together consistently. Yeah,
I've just really enjoyed my footy this year and sort of been welcomed in with open arms at this footy club and feel really embraced by the people around the footy club and my whole family. They've been so good for Chloe back home and in Sydney, and I'm just loving my footy at the moment and running around with a smile on my face.
And your body's holding up okay?
Yeah. Well, we've obviously had that PCL early in the year, and probably just starting to come through that now. It's just finding what works midweek and what works sort of how much I can do during the week to be right for games. But I feel like I'm starting to come through the other side of it now.
The narrow ground, has that been talked about much, GMHBA Stadium?
Yeah, it has. I think, obviously, we played in Adelaide Oval last week, and that's quite a narrow ground as well. I think it's probably only 10 metres wider. So you definitely got to adjust the way you play in terms of how far you switch it, and it's so long as well, so where the space will be. But we haven't played there a whole heap, but we've historically been able to, obviously I wasn't here, but Sydney have played it reasonably well historically. So it's new to both of us and West Coast, and it's probably who's going to play it better.
Talking to Tom Hickey, Sydney Swan star ruckman. I know you've got to go in a second. Tom, can I ask you one from left field? You're originally from Queensland. I think your father was a star rugby league player, so you grew up in Queensland. And it's an interesting situation, the Gold Coast as a place for sport. Have you got a reason why so many sport teams on the Gold Coast struggle to get a foothold there, given you grew up in the general area?
It's been a tough one because I think the Gold Coast people are tremendously loyal, and the supporters they have their diehard supporters, and I think starting a new club anywhere is tough because you're trying to get a foothold in the market especially in AFL or something like that where there is so many established fans, and it's hard to turn a lifetime Collingwood supporter into a Gold Coast supporter and stuff like that. But it's I can't put my finger on it. I think there's been how many rugby leagues? I think this is the third rugby league team that's been through, and they're only just starting to get successful. And they've had basketball teams and stuff like that. Maybe there's a lot of influx of population in and out, so that changes. But I think Gold Coast, they've got a really good young crew now and a really good young list. If they can get some success, I'm sure everyone will jump on. I think Brisbane in general and Queensland in general, when it comes to AFL, they want to go support winning teams. You've got the Gabba now getting packed out as opposed to the Gabba 5 years ago when Brisbane was struggling. So I think in like any sport, success breeds supporters. So you can go through to when you do your school visits, and there's a lot of kids going for Richmond the last few years, and before that they're all going for Hawthorn. So I think the best case for that is just winning lots of games of footy and being successful.
Did you feel when you were there on the Gold Coast playing for the Suns that it was going to take a long time? People were going to have to be patient?
I felt like it was done pretty well when I was there. We did a lot of like young school visits and grade 4s and grade 5s and grade 3s, and I think the participation rates of AFL really skyrocketed through that time, and I think it's just trying to be able to get them in when they're 8 or 9 and then keep those kids supporting through their lifetime. And obviously that faces many challenges through performance and through just staying interested in the sport and keeping the sport relevant in Queensland. But I felt like they came at it with the right approach of saying, hey, if you're a lifetime supporter, let us be your second team. But if you're a young kid, like, have a goal of watching David Swallow and watching Gary Ablett and guys like that come through. So, it was obviously I was only 19, 18 to Brighthead and Bushy Tailed, so it didn't take a whole lot of, as most AFL players, young AFL players. I wasn't all around it in depth, but from the inside, it felt like they're doing a pretty good job at it.
Tom, great to have a chat to you. I really appreciate your time. I know you've got to get away and train, so thanks for sticking around for a while and having a chat. I'll see you at the Cattery.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.
Tom Hickey, star Sydney Swans ruckman, with the Swans hosting the Eagles at GMHBA Stadium on Sunday. Catching up with us for a McCafe coffee catch-up. Drop into a McCafe for a coffee near you. Stick around, more to come after the break.